it was 7 days after my mum and dad escaped from the police. There they were, hiding in the corner of the crack house far, far away. That wasn't very nice. It was horrible. They had to spend hours smoking bad weed, and they looked to see what there was. There was nothing but that awful shit. My mum takes one blunt, she bites it, she puts it in her mouth and said, "I love wheat." This isn't nice. This is not nice. We can't smoke this shit for a whole week. I'm telling you this, if we had to smoke this crap once more, I shall die. By the time my mum spat all the weed all over the floor, my dad was high as fuck.
So, have you?
Anyway, after a whole week of this, my mum and dad heard a terrible noise. There was an awful yelling and crying. There was the noise of police, science, and some drug dealers being arrested. Uh-oh. It was then my mum and dad ran up to the window. Then they noticed the woman outside. She was fat with a shotgun in her hand. Blimey. Suddenly, the front door opens and it bangs against the wall really loud. At that, my mum and dad got up and ran out the room and got into the fridge as fast as they could. My mum and dad lay there, waiting. There was the noise of 2 police officers talking. One officer said, "I think there's weed in the fridge. Could be trouble." So then my dad took his gun out of his pocket very, very quietly. The fridge door opened. "Hello!" Kaboom, kaboom. Dad screamed, "Shit! Get out! Get out of here!" My mum and dad got up and ran out the back door and got away as fast as they could. And just when my dad tried to turn the back door handle, it appeared. The XT1 police tank. Blimey. Suddenly, a missile bangs against the wall really loud. There was the noise of murder and someone shouting. Suddenly, Georgie Bo came running into the backyard. All his clothes were torn. There was blood on his face and he screamed, "Stop right there, criminal scum, you can't run away." It was then my mum and dad were surrounded by the police and soldiers in black and brown armour. They had shit blasters. Blimey. Well, actually, fuck. Georgie Bo said, "Game over, bitch." Dad said, "Would you believe it, the little shit?" And he said, "Quiet, please." "No," says my dad, getting a bit cross. So Georgie Bo said, "Shut your fucking shit face. Right, when there's complete fucking quiet, put your hands up into the air. Do you understand?" There's my mum. And there's my dad, and he's roaring, "Fuck you." He starts up a chant. "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck off. Stop that stupid shit," said Georgie Bo, poking his gun out against my dad, who said, "Okay, don't worry about it. But how come you're here to tell the tale?" So Georgie Bo said, "Ha! You can't kill me." Suddenly, they all heard a gunshot and a woman saying, "Oh, really?" There was a great big hole in Georgie Bo's chest, and he said, "Shit," and he just fell over and died. Ha! It was then the woman appeared, and it was Queen Fat Ass. Could be trouble. She said, "Right, I shall take over from here," and she looks at Georgie Bo's life. Let's body and said, "Never liked that cunt and his dirty moustache." Anyway, she turned to my mum and dad and said, "Right, I'm going to string you up from the wall bars, you little plum fuckers." Dad said, "Look out the window. There's your next happy meal, you fat fucking bitch." Queen Fat Ass looked absolutely furious and said, "Fuck you, I'm the fattest in the land." Dad said, "Nope." Not long after, my mum and dad were stuck to the wall bars in the extractor-rific one police tank. Their mum said, "This isn't fair. Let us go." "No," said Queen Fat Ass. Dad said, "If you don't let us go, I shall do awful things." Yeah, I bet you can't," said Queen Fat Ass. Dad said, "Okay, show time." So Dad starts up talking in Jewish. Queen Fat Ass frowned and then started looking terrified at the sudden outburst of Jewish words filling the tank. Dad goes on Jewifying the wall bars. Boopers. Suddenly, the wall bars disappeared. Queen Fat Ass said, "Holy fuck." Dad's hand darted across his pants and he took his penis out. My dad My dad, what's he doing? He's spitting all over the floor, all over Queen Fat Ass, and all over 15 raisins. It was disgusting, but okay. Not long after, my mum and dad noticed the building that was standing just outside. It said THC. My mum said to my dad, I wonder what that means. Meanwhile, the tank went on. My dad sat in the corner, waiting to be punished. Suddenly, Queen Fat Ass stuffs a great big strawberry into Dad's ears. Dad screamed. That's when my mum and dad arrived at the THC base, and it was creepy as fuck. And there were hundreds of soldiers and tanks were parked outside. It was then Queen Fatty took mum and dad inside the base and said, right you two, fuckheads, if you two don't shut your mouth, I shall kill a fly on the wall. Mum says, oh no, that's horrible. You can't murder a living creature like that. Queen Fat Ass took this rolled up goldfish out of her nose. Then, oh no! Not long after, Queen Fat Ass took my mum and dad into the machine room and then into the elevator and said, you two need to shut the fuck up. Do you understand? Mum said, okay, yeah, okay. And then they went to the hallway. Suddenly, it appeared. A purple light. There was a man inside the light and he said, ha, I have you now, poking his finger at Queen Fat Ass. And he slowly appeared from out of the shadowish thing. There was a mask covering his face. His clothes were grey, black and purple. And he said, Queen Fat Ass, if I'm correct, I've been tracking you down since the cafe shooting. It was then the man noticed my mum and dad. And he said, you two are the maniacs from the shooting, the ones who got in my way of taking down this dangerous agent of the Haribo Company. That's when my mum and dad remembered THC. It was then the man took this purple glowing stuff from his sack and said, it's time to die. At that, my mum and dad ran and jumped into the elevator. Then Queen Fat Ass took her shotgun and said, ha, not if I can help it. Kaboom, 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 kaboom. CaptainPlums.